Hello, good day. Welcome to today's news. Our main headline for today: no vaccination, no renewal of business permit policy. The COVID-19 pandemic has affected people around the world, and it is a highly contagious disease that in which people should follow strict compliance with the health and safety protocols to prevent the increasing numbers of COVID-19 cases. Since the introduction of significant measures to restrict the spread of the pandemic in the Philippines, there has been an unprecedented level of demand placed on the social support for the people. People across the country have faced immediate cuts to their earned income, closures to their businesses, reduced hours, and complete job losses. Early in the pandemic, it became clear that to end the global crisis, vaccines are not only needed, but it was also necessary to ensure that everyone on the globe had access to the vaccine. The no vaccination, no renewal of business permit policy has steered up business owners to rush to get themselves vaccinated in order to continue their livelihood. There's also some who chooses not to be vaccinated due to their principles or opinions regarding the vaccines and would rather abandon their businesses than getting themselves vaccinated. Joining us for today are guests who have different thoughts and ideas regarding this specific headline. Let's get right into the interviews. Good day. Today's interview is about the no vaccination, no renewal of business permit. So, Ms. Lomongo, what do you think are the disadvantages of having this situation?
The policy no vaccination, no renewal of business permit has a big drawback. For example, if a business owner is unwell and fearful of being vaccinated, they may opt to stop their business and not renew their business permit. There is also a drawback to this approach that affects not just the company seller but also the employees who work for them, particularly if the employees are solely reliant on that particular employment. Due to this regulation, some company owners will be required to be vaccinated in order to renew their business license.
So, Mrs. Machete, what do you think are the advantages of having your business permit renewed when you're vaccinated?
Since the LGU has a proposal, a policy of which business owners are to be vaccinated in order to renew their business permits, the advantage of this policy, which is no vaccination, no renewal of business permits, as an example of this situation is my mother's experience. My mother is a businesswoman. She sells fish in the market. She heard that they can't renew their business permit if they are not vaccinated. So, my mother thought for a couple of weeks whether or not should she be vaccinated because of her conditions. The reason is that she had to maintain her high blood pressure. After thinking for weeks, she decided to be vaccinated since it's for her own good. She thought that it can help her renew her business permit next year. If we are vaccinated, it is an advantage for us. We can do what we want, especially when you are in a business. Aside from that, it is a big help to us by protecting ourselves to the virus that is spreading in our country. So, for me, it's better to be vaccinated because until now we are still facing the pandemic. The most advantage of this proposal policy is that it can help the government to pursue or to achieve the immunity of each citizen in order to overcome this pandemic. Thank you.
Good day. Today we're going to interview the positive sides of the no vaccination, no renewal of business permit. So, Mr. Tugahan, about this, the positive side. So, what do you think about it?
Vaccination is a simple, safe, and effective method of protecting individuals against potentially fatal diseases before they come into contact with them. COVID-19 vaccines are effective can reduce the risk of getting and spreading the virus that causes COVID-19. It is also help children, adults from getting serious and even if they do get COVID-19. Getting children aged 5 years and older vaccinated can help protect them from the serious short and long-term complications. Getting everyone above the age of 5 immunized helps protect families and communities, including friends, relatives who are ineligible for immunization and those who are higher risk of serious disease or from COVID-19. The reason is that COVID-19 can kill a billion people worldwide, with the concern of the government group. A non-government group, they advocate the people to be vaccinated to make them and their families safe in COVID-19. But there are still a number of people who are not yet convinced to be vaccinated. That is why we should apply the tightened discipline in every municipality for the protection of the people in every municipality and also to avoid the spreading of COVID-19 virus. We should implement the no vaccination, no renewal of business permits so that customers of the following business can be protected through this law.
So, in continuation of the positive side of the no vaccination, no renewal of business permit. So, Mr. Mejos, what do you think?
I understand that we have our own principle and I respect the principle that you have. But I have also my principle to make us safe and protected by COVID-19 virus. If you don't want to be part of the community, then you shouldn't do your responsibilities. The sense of fulfillment that comes from giving back and contributing to society is unsurpassed. Giving back is also an excellent way to become acquainted with your city and its residents. If you volunteer to be vaccinated, you get to meet a lot of new people and have the freedom to live in the community because you are already protected by the vaccine and you also contributed to protect the community. Be one of the solutions, not a problem of the community. One for all for one.
With this interview, we talked about the negative side of having no vaccination, no business, no renewal of business permit. So, Ms. Maagad, what are your thoughts?
The negative effect and this proposal policy, no vaccination, no renewal of business permits. One example I have is if a business owner would refuse to get vaccinated because of their health condition and suggested by their families not to get vaccinated, and they choose to close their business rather than get vaccinated. Also, they seek the freedom of the right to choose and decide whether to be vaccinated or not. This heavily affects the livelihood of the business owners and especially as their expenses are solely attended from the business.
So, Mr. Palasan, what's your idea about this proposal policy?
In this proposal policy that could be possibly implemented next year, so there are some disadvantages or advantages, positive or negative effect. But whatever government policy would be implemented, we have no choice but to follow. If we would insist our democracy and freedom, we can still protest or against such policies because we'll have the right to choose and decide. So this proposal policy has a positive effect and negative effect. For example, if a business owner would refuse to get vaccinated and they choose to close their business rather than get vaccinated, so this could affect the economic of a particular LGUs. And if the economic of an LGU will decrease, so how they could give services to their constituents? According to the National Task Force or NTF, to get vaccinated is the only way and solution to overcome the economic loss due to this pandemic. So therefore, if you are a business owner and you want to be protected against the virus, so you would rather follow the mandates or policy of the government for us to overcome these challenges or this pandemic. This proposal policy could also help us to protect one another This could be discrimination to others who don't want to be vaccinated. But how can we overcome this pandemic if we don't cooperate to our government? Another thing, if this policy would be implemented and if there are business owners vote against this, maybe the government could still or do or implement special policies that business owner wouldn't want to be vaccinated. Still, they can still renew their permit, but they would undergo a swab test every week so that they could still follow the health protocols of the government.
Sir, may hapon sir. So, amo ko mata na karon sir. Unsay imong masulti kining aning policy nga no vaccination, no renewal of business permit. Unsa ba ni sa imo? Negative ba ni para sa inyong business owner or ba ni kayuhan para sa inyong business owner?
Sa ako alang, Machete tong naibaksin yun. Ang policy rin na naibaksin, kay para safety ang katawhan.
Okay. So sa imo na ani advantage para sa imo na advantage.
Na advantage. Usap na protocol gina sa gobyerno.
Okay. Salamat sir. Unsay imong masulti or makomento nimo aning about nga nami nadungog nga naay policy sa munisipyo nga no vaccination, no renewal of business permit. Unsa man ni effect sa imo? Negative ba ni siya or positive? Unsay para sa imo? Unsa ba ni positive ba ni sa inyo or laban ni kayuhan sa inyo nga mga business owner or
maayo ba og
negative ba ni para sa inyo?
Okay naman gyud kung maayo ni siya. Okay naman gyud maayo siya. Ngayon ang munisipyo dili makainyo ang walay vaccination. So wala kay lain choice.
Pagpabaksin na lang.
So sa ato pa kung unsay policy dapat mosunod na lang.
Sunod may sa ang policy kay igo naman may maligay ko nato.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, te. Thank you so much, te.
Salamat, te.
It means a lot.
Sunod me. Wala may nakakapat.
Lagi kay wala kay permit ipo ka
Tinahad.
May hapon ma'am, kami din estudyante sa Busto Alubijid ma'am. So naaming project yung ginahin mo karon against research karon labi na ning natong nadunggan karon nga no vaccination, no renewal o business permit ma'am. Unsa imong maistorya o mahatag nga komento lamang aning gamay mo?
Para lang sa kuha na ikatungod tang tanan nga musupak or muuyon para sa kusupak gyud ba na kay naabay ta sa demokrasya no kanang ilang pagbuot kung mabalaod hinuon okay ra kayo na pero wala pa manggoy balaod nga mandatory gid siya wala supak gid ko ana nila nga implementation.
Sige ma'am, salamat ka ma'am. So I assure you ma'am nga kining details karon amo ning gina-project ma'am walay lain nakabaluan hindi nga kami lang ma'am. So thank you very much ma'am.
Thank you.
That has been our interviews in today's news. Now, for our second headline, abolition of the use of face shields in public places and instead the use of goggles to curb the rise of the COVID-19 cases. Goggles are used for COVID-19 because they form a protective seal around the eyes and prevent objects or droplets from entering under or around them. Face shields are used in combination with face masks to provide additional protection in the whole face. People expressed their dissatisfaction with the existing required use of face shields during the discussion over the wearing of goggles for COVID-19. Now, with the added idea of replacing face shields with goggles, made the people even more concerned. Others expressed concern that goggles would be more expensive than face shields for the Filipinos. We have guests for this specific topic and will be interviewing them and what their thoughts and ideas. Let's get right into it.
So for today's interview, we're going to talk about the disadvantages of having the face shield removed and replaced it with goggles. So Mr. Edulan, what's your thoughts on that?
The disadvantages of replacing the face shield with goggles. It is a different problem for the Filipinos. Firstly, the vendors can no longer afford to sell the face shields, so they no longer have a livelihood in regards to that specific item. Second, because it costs more to the Filipinos to buy goggles, of course they have to buy their food first. And third, it is new topic to debate whether it is okay to remove face shield and replace with them with goggles. People will have varying thoughts on this and might lead to chaos. Many people said that the Philippines is the only country wearing face shield, and they also said that face shield was only used for in the hospitals, and many suggested that there is no need to wear face shield in the public places because many of us are now vaccinated. Wearing face shield or goggles just adds to the discomfort.
So, what do you think are the advantages of the abolition of the use of face shields in public places and instead the use of goggles to curb the rise of the COVID-19 cases?
The benefits of prohibiting face shields in public areas are less troublesome because wearing one is already unpleasant and has a significant impact on breathing. People who aren't wearing face shields, on the other hand, are not uncomfortable and may breathe freely. Of good peripheral facial seal, little is known about the effectiveness of face shields in preventing the transmission of viral respiratory disease. Goggles is better than face shields because goggles are recommended as primary eye protection because they have shown the significantly reduced transmission of infectious diseases. Appropriately fitted in directly vented goggles with a manufacturer's anti-fog coating provide the most reliable eye protection from splashes, sprays, and respiratory droplets. Goggles are better because they are easy to use because they can only cover the eyes. That's all.
Face shields were implemented in order to further minimize the curve of the rising COVID-19 cases, although it's been seen that it is mostly worn like a headband rather than wearing them as intended. Although goggles is yet not approved nor implemented, it still raises concerns over the people's minds whether or not it'll be good to lower the curve of the rising COVID-19 cases if ever it was implemented in the future. We are hoping everyone is in good condition and also hoping you have a great day ahead. This is today's news, bringing you the latest concerns around the globe. Thank you for being with us.